Thank you for joining us this evening. We are the Hayes School of Music Brass Quintet, and that was 6 pieces by Johann Petzel. He was a Baroque trumpet player and composer, so he had a good feel for brass instruments of his day, which translates very well to us now. I would like to introduce you to Cody Chesser, our tuba player, who will introduce our next piece.
So our next piece is the first quintet by Victor Ewald. Ewald was born in about 1860, and which means that he was born roughly after the tuba was born, my favorite instrument. And so this meant that he was able to finally write for the brass quintet, which is just very early on in the stages of being formed. And so at the beginning of this piece, you'll hear like a lovely tuba solo, I hope. And then it'll pass throughout the movements, and then it'll pass throughout the first movement, and then the second movement's very slow and pretty, and then fast and aggressive, and then we'll end out with a cute little march. So thank you so much.
Pretty good, guys. Thank you for having us today. My name is James Stokes. I'm the coach. Officially, that's my position for their group. I coach them 1 hour a week. They rehearse another hour a week. I receive telephone calls from folks all over the area, and I just say, you need to hire these guys to play for your services. So they have, how many gigs? Like 4 or 5 already lined up for the holiday season. So as you can hear, they play really well and they enjoy. Actually, what's beautiful about a group like this is they really enjoy playing together. They're all friends. That's part of, especially a part of the camaraderie of music, because at some point you have to learn to read each other's minds. And they basically have to do that because they only communicate through sound and through music. There's a little bit of this, kind of conducting, but most of it is listening and balance, intonation. I can go on forever. That's my business. But they do this really well, and right off the top, it's a pleasure to work with you guys too, to be able to work with you on this stuff. So I'd like to introduce them. If you give me a second, I'll get my other glasses on. Okay, I will start with the low end, Cody Chesser. Cody is from Trinity, North Carolina, and I'll just tell you, where is that?
About 20 minutes south of Greensboro.
Okay, so I'm from North Carolina, from Hendersonville. I know where Charlotte is, and I know where Raleigh is. So I know where Kernersville, and he's laughing at me back there. So, and then let's see, and then Zachary McCrary. He's from Lenore, not too far away from here. And then Andrew Hicks is from Hickory. Let's see, Rob McCormick is from Asheville. and then Robert Carmichael is from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So they're all North Carolina boys, and they really are doing well together. And it's kind of cool to watch them come together at school and in the mountains, and they really work well together. I would also like to say that there are kids that come to school in Boone. We're lucky to have them especially. They're all scholarship musicians and students. And from the kindness of everything from donors to people who would just like to contribute to school. As you know, it is very expensive to go to school these days, especially in music, because music in general and the arts are very expensive. And these guys all are very deserving of the scholarship they've earned, not only academically, but as you've heard, musically. So to introduce just a couple more, myself, James Stokes, and then Brent Bingham. We're going to play a little bit for you. And most of you see, I'm doing a lot of talking now. They're doing a lot of playing, and they don't have these tiny little lips. So they'd like for me to talk as much as I can without making this service or this concert go too long. And then Robert will play a solo, Bis du bei mir, which is a setting by Bach later by himself. That it's a tune that many people have set, but Bach really gets credit for it. And then Brent and I will be playing a duet by Bach, which is from, I think, Cantata 146, and its title is My Spirit Be Joyful. I'm sure you've probably heard that before. And I made a mistake in the program. It's not arranged by Wolf, it's arranged by Biggs, who was, Wolf actually played for my mother-in-law's and my father-in-law's wedding. But for some reason I have that in my mind, so this is Biggs. And then I will next, who's doing the brief? Okay. I'll introduce Rob, and he's going to talk about the next piece. Thank you.
Yeah, so the next piece that we're going to play is the second movement from the Holberg Suite that was composed in 1884 by Edvard Grieg. This is originally composed for a string quartet and has been adapted to an arrangement for brass quintet. Let's see. It's a beautiful piece, it's a slow piece, and in Grieg's words, this piece is pretty introspective and is supposed to encourage the musicians to think about life, taking it slowly every day.
pages. Whenever you're ready.
If it's not the right tempo, I'll find you.
Okay, hold on just a second. Get his eyes on it. Okay.
to write a check, I'm assuming they could write it to Union Market Scholarship on the memo line, and then it would be direct. So if you'll let it do that, then we encourage. Hasn't it been wonderful?
So the next piece that we're going to play is a short arrangement of a very common tune that is in a very different style than everything else we've played so far. It is The Girl from Ipanema, composed originally by Antonio Carlos Jobim from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He moved to New York City, New York, and died in New York City, New York, but is almost single-handedly responsible for developing bossa nova as a common style. He developed it out of the exciting and extroverted rhythms in Brazil and made it more of an intimate style of Latin jazz in the United States.
Appalachian Spring is a ballet that was composed and written by Copeland that depicts a wedding scene at a Pennsylvania farmhouse in the early 20th century. The piece was first performed in Washington, D.C. on October 30th, 1944, and then the following year won a Pulitzer Prize for music. It contains some of Copeland's most famous works, most notably the variations on the Shaker hymn, Simple Gifts.
Still only have a couple pieces left for you this evening, but this next one is by a man named Samuel Sheep. He is a German, or was a German, organ player before the Baroque era. He's actually one that defined the German Baroque playing of the organ. This is the second movement of his battle suite that has been arranged for, or third movement, sorry, of his battle suite that's been arranged for brass quintet. It is considered a battle because, as you will hear, it's more of a call and response between the ensemble. You'll hear Robert playing a motive, and then you'll hear us responding throughout most of this piece. Thank you.
For having us. Thank you to Union Lutheran Church for having us here, the community for inviting us. Thanks to Frank and Dawn for pushing all the advertising, which I thought was kind of great. We got to get those little website things, and we always dig it. And of course, our dean, the School of Music, really loves to see that kind of stuff, so we get points for that. Thanks to Reverend Corbell. Once again, thank you to Frank, especially Dawn, for all of her musical talent. And my gosh, we had the best lunch, dinner. And we always do, every time I come down here, it's easy to tell these guys, because most of them don't know them. And I said, you know, just do this, come down here and play this concert for this community, and I'm telling you, the lunch is going to be incredible. And it never fails. So thank you to both of you for all that you do. And you know, and also I have to mention, it's a great honor to work at the School of Music. It's a great honor to have folks like that to contribute. It's a great honor to be able to honor Franz Merrill in through music and through their contribution over the years. It's made a big and huge difference to our university and to our students. And we thank them. We thank them for your contribution from the bottom of our hearts. Really. I got this one. So they're going to do, what is it? Give my regards to Broadway. It really doesn't need any introduction. This will be the last tune for this evening, and thank you again for being a wonderful audience.
Thank